Namaste. Let's celebrate India's women who harnessed innovation, entrepreneurship, and excellence, and in pursuit of bringing women role models in front of you and to honor them. BVSS has started a fantastic journey, the Dil Se Dialogue. And I, Preeti Pranav Jain, welcomes you all to the fifth episode of the Dil Se Dialogue. It's a very common sight, especially in India, that the boardrooms are filled with male CFOs and CEOs. And in their comparison, the females' C suites are very, very less. Not because they are not capable enough, but because our beliefs and value systems are so that as the women starts going higher and higher and the work responsibilities increases, they tend to make choices between profession and family lives. And the number of female on the top position starts narrowing down. And that is why we are trying to decode what made some of these women achievers who they are today and what's the secret sauce in their success recipe. And to know that, we have an amazing guest today, a girl who started her journey from a small town of UP, a go getter who never learned to give up and extremely passionate about work and workout. She believes in being part of the solution anywhere and everywhere. And she is none other than the very lively and super enthusiastic Miss Meenakshi Dagar, CFO Lenovo India, a seasoned professional with 18 years of work experience across multiple domains, including the past 7 years at Lenovo and responsible for financial P&L management. Prior to Lenovo, Meenakshi has worked with brands such as Amex, Tech Mahindra, and Dell in various finance capacities. Meenakshi has been awarded the CFO Story FinTech Evangelist Award 2022. She is a fitness freak, loves playing badminton, a traveler at heart, and enjoys interacting with experts to learn as she believes. We learn a lot more from experiences than books. And it gives me immense pleasure to welcome our guest today. A very, very warm welcome to you, Meenakshi, on our The Dil Se dialogue.
Thank you, Preeti. Thank you so much. Thanks for such a warm welcome and thank you for all the nice words.
It's entirely my pleasure. This you very well deserve these nice words. And I'm excited to know you more, to hear more from you, and to learn from you. Are we all set to go?
Yes, Preeti, yeah.
Yeah. So, the very first thing coming in my mind, Meenakshi, is like, what's your ikigai? What makes you jump out of the bed every single morning?
Sure, thanks. And every new day, right? I do look forward to that, what's in store for me as I get up from the bed, how many calories I'm going to burn, how I'm going to spend my time at gym, how I'm going to meet the new different kind of people today, and every passing day, how will I be a better version of myself? Long enough, I've seen every passing day probably me turning more humble, me making more friends and having more colleagues. And every passing day, probably adding something new to my experience and to my life. So when you have so much, which each coming day, so much new to add to yourself, so why be on the bed? Why not just go get up and make a difference to yourself and make a difference to others by each passing day? So that's what it is.
Wow. I'm so glad to meet yet another ambassador of a better version. The first one is me. I truly believe in this, working every single day. And so beautifully, you said to burn out some calories. So important to be physically and mentally fit. And yes, every single day is a learning to be more humble, to know more, learn more. It's an endless journey. I totally agree with you. Hmm. And you are in such a financial field, very challenging. I read about you on LinkedIn and different places that you are from a very, very small town, from a conservative family. So, who inspired you towards your goal? It's like, who is your role model from childhood and from now?
Sure. Thanks, Preeti. No, so that's there, right? I do come from a very small town. I do come from a community, a Jat community, which is very, very traditional in thinking. And in fact, in my family, probably I was the first one who was chosen probably to come out in corporate and do a job. That was not easy, right? But if I talk about my, role model, it starts probably first from the house, my own mom, who probably taught me back in those days that just be yourself. Do not give up and pursue your dreams, pursue your aspiration. And then there are many, such individuals about whom I read, I interact, I learn, who make all the difficulties of life look so simple and out there to solve every challenge coming their way. Recently, in fact, I met a lady called Elena Elam. She's running one of the venture called Miti Cafe, who has 30 outlets across the country, and this is being built with having the entire staff from the physically disabled candidates. And she's out there helping all these with their earnings and providing foods to so many across India. Another one I read on the social media, there's a lady called Muniba Mazari. She's from Balochistan. She had a terrible accident, and after that, unfortunately, got physically disabled. But today, she's a social activist, and I think she gives motivational speech, and she inspires so many across the world. And she has earned so much name and fame for herself, and did not give up in life when she had that choice. And many others. I think recently I read about another female from a very small town in Orissa who probably is doing a delivery job to make of funds for her studies. So I think my inspirations are many, and there are so many such examples. Every person, either women or men, who is out there who do not give up in difficulties, I think all of them inspires me, who are there to challenge everything coming their way and really making difference that they will solve things for themselves.
I'm getting goosebumps, Meenakshi. Honestly, you started with giving some life lessons from your mom, and you are really a very lucky girl. Mom being your side, who taught you that just be yourself, don't give up, and pursue your dreams. So, thank you, Auntie, for giving us Meenakshi Dagar, who she is today. And at the same time, thanks for sharing three such wonderful, empowering stories, which clearly says that women can do anything once they decide to do. Our role models are all around us. They are Durgas, right? So
Absolutely.
I have just made a note. I would definitely go and read about all of them. And it's we really get that, that energy, that glucose from them to keep going ahead. Thank you for sharing that. Now, let's come to your career path, a very, very challenging career path, right? And you have achieved a lot. But this journey, I believe, must not be very smooth. So, what do you think is or was the most significant barrier in your career?
Actually, very interesting question, and I think answer of this could be a bit long because I'm really going to share from where I started.
Sure.
Coming back to my earlier response, that I do come from a traditional family, and there, as a girl child, you're supposed to listen to your parents. Probably do just basics of studies and get married, and then maybe be a housewife, which is what until me, all my predecessors, all my cousins, all woman child in the family would have done. And that point in time, I think my biggest barrier was that do I go down that path or do I make my own choice? And I think somewhere again, I was fortunate to have my mom backing me up in all my decisions. I was extremely passionate about fashion and finance. I was, very good in mathematics, economics, all the finance related subject, and equally passionate about fashion too. So that time I did not take the choice what family was giving, but I gave them the choice that these are the two options I have, and you decide which one you want. And very obvious, when they realized I'm not going to give up, they said, okay, let's go down path, doing the finance. And that's where I opted for CA. And it didn't end there. After that also, my dad was in business, so he was in army, and then later he started his own venture. And where he thought probably, after CA I would be helping, maybe run his family business, I actually again chosen something very different for me, that I want to enter in corporate. I want to be independent. I want to fight my own battles, and I want to be, making my own career. That wasn't easy either. And this was back in Delhi, back in those days. And I gave up answering and, taking feedbacks every day. And I was fortunate I got then the job from South India. And I think 19 years back, I moved in there. But with all these background, I think I did not have even enough confidence, Preeti, when I entered in corporate. And I still remember my first job discussion with one of the big fours. I was actually frozen in the discussion. I just couldn't speak even a single word there. And I just didn't know how to deal with it. And then I went back home. And again, my mom said, it's okay, you will make it. Just have that confidence in yourself. And after that, I think I started building that confidence. And then there was no look back. I think when I entered in corporate, I came to Hyderabad, and then things just kept on happening, and I kept on going on and on and on. And I'll also acknowledge that maybe I was fortunate to also have right people around me. I think that's very important, that you have your coaches, mentors, who will give you the right advices, and there are people who will push you. And my family then by then adopted the version of me what I was, that this is how she is. They don't have choices, so eventually they also turned to become very strong strength of mine, after having the acceptance that this is Meenakshi, and you'll have to accept it the way she is. So yeah, I think those days, definitely those were the initial barriers. After that, in corporate, all of us do have difficult days, challenges, but the first one, which I said, to pass on and reach here, I think that was really important and critical. After that, no look back.
Yeah, I hear you, because we are all, I'll not say we are all, I don't want to generalize, but yes, I too belong to a small town, and that conservative society where the women are made for certain tasks, and that certain path for their life is almost fixed. And I'm glad your mom was there with you. But interestingly, such two different poles, fashion and finance. Fashion is so creative, it's like bright, colorful, and I always consider finance as full, no juicy, nearest numbers.
Everything was boring
And
in
you
the
going
profession.
on, and you have both as your interests, so beautiful, huh? And then you chose finance, and you carved your own career path. You took that courage, so kudos to you. You are
Well,
really a great
thanks.
role model.
Thanks, Preeti. And I just want to add, after that, even in my own family, right, there are so many girl child who have made it so big in their education. Many of them are out of country, doing so well in their career. So I think someone has to be that first one, and then you make a big difference to the rest. And that's what probably we are here to, right, to lead by example, be that first one, make those difficult choices. So that's how I'll put it.
Being that torchbearer is the most important task and most difficult task.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we can show that torch and make path easier for many, many, many more generations to come.
Right.
Great. So you have made path very easy for the generations in your family. Now, after being a torch barrier, the one question which is popping up in my mind, Meenakshi, what one thing do you think you would like to change in the corporate world as far as the women professionals are concerned?
Sure. Thanks, Preeti. And I think you gave the pitch for this at the start. That we still have, unfortunately, a very low ratio of the gender diversity at the leadership. And this is not just about one profession. I think it applies to all the professions. You talk about sales, you talk about marketing, you talk about finance. By the way, at my organization, we have 5 women leaders at leadership, and the diversity ratio is 25%. So really something great which my organization is doing, and I would want to see all organizations do that. Take diversity and inclusion as one of the key priority. If the percentage is low, there are reasons for that. So how do we bring that equality, which will definitely help all the organization to grow even much faster. We did have one of the outstanding results at Lenovo last year, with 35% of the diversity in the leadership team. Coming to the next part, I'll also say for all the women out there, don't assume. Don't assume that you are the one who is probably not deserving the next promotion in the team. Don't assume that you have to give up your aspiration always. Don't assume that you will not be able to do a difficult task, and you should be out there to put out yourself that I'm there and I'll do it and I'm the one who's deserving it, right? That's very very important. I think so important that don't assume life is difficult without giving it a good fight that this is how you want to pursue. So that solution mindset and intent to continue is very important.
Yeah, don't assume. It's like a mantra you have given to these women professionals. And two things which stood out for me is like, don't assume that you only have to give your aspirations, and don't assume that life is very difficult. Give it a try, fight out. Really, it's a gem of an advice. Thank you very much for sharing that. And keeping the same thing ahead. It's like I have well received your advice. So one question is still there lingering in my mind is that what one thing you would like to change in the corporate worlds?
I think it again comes back to that I've seen a lot of talented women leaving corporate, right? And this is where assumption was right, but then it comes back to what corporate can do. And when you see a lot of talented, aspirational talent leave and prioritize, their family needs, and a lot of assumption goes that again, that in the family I have to be the one who probably has to play that part. What corporate can do in their diversity and inclusion efforts, really to ensure that they don't leave, they stay there, they get that support in the need when they really have to do that balancing task. And even if they leave, what one can do to bring them back and how the world is going to accept. I did interview, in fact, recently a woman who probably lost 5 years of her career prioritizing her family. And it was so interesting to see her energy, and also the acceptance that maybe I'm 5 years behind, and now the generation is a lot more younger who is probably going to work on the similar task. What will be expected from me? So I think that acceptance, that balancing, providing that help by all the corporate and actually making those genuine efforts in their learning needs, in their support system, in their balancing is very, very important. And I think that's a task, and I'll say it's happening, but maybe the efforts have to increase multifold into that direction.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Lots has been done and lots needs to be done yet. And yes, now women are started taking their career, their aspirations more seriously, and they are not at all in a mood to compromise or give up. They are ready to fight. We are seeing a big change, big shift. Saying so, Meenakshi, as CFO, where diversity ratio is still so low, how do you find yourself to follow your vision without being distracted?
That's a very interesting one, and I do see myself being assessed on that every day. So, as a woman CFO, when you enter into a CFO forum and you just see, the room full of male colleagues, but that word gender never crosses your mind, and you are out there as a CFO who has the competencies, who has the required skill, who has the differentiated thinking to let any organization grow, then you are at the right place for yourself and for all your colleagues. So that's the vision and mission, I can say, for my team and for my colleagues, which I would want to follow. That incorporate nothing matters but just skill, and all you got to have is keeping that gender word completely out of your mind. Do you have the skill or not? And have that skill which will help you to grow. If you have the talent, you have the competencies, then you are there, and just ensure that it's same walk the talk across, and make out that mission, which is probably simple enough for yourself, but at the same time meaningful to achieve.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and it's really powerful. It's not about the gender. It's about the skill sets, confidence, trust in self. It's all about being resourceful. It's about going and being a go-getter. It's about the competencies. Many a times this gender thing becomes a kind of comfort zone. Yeah, I'm hearing you. Great. And something very different question. So, Meenakshi, what does success means to you? What is success for you?
Yeah, again, an interesting one. So, it's definitely not the fame, it's not the title, it's not the money. It's really what I believe, right? That life is just a trial. And if you take life as a trial, and sometimes you'll fail, sometimes you'll succeed, and that trial keeps on happening. What comes as a success is really that journey, that experience. And that will not come from the title in that journey attached to you or the money in your bank account, but it's that desire, it's that hunger, it's that can do attitude that keep working on that trial and keep adding that learning and experience. That is success to me. And it's so important that until your last day, just keep giving your best to the world, and you will see that's returning to you in terms of very rich experience, in terms of making a lot of friends, a lot of family, believe in you, a lot of colleagues. So that's success, that take life as a trial, don't give up, and just keep trying your best.
Wow, I'm amazed. Rightly said, it's not about title, it's not about money. It's about the experiences. It's a journey, what you learn, and keep giving your best till the last breath. Do your best, and the world will give best to you. I totally agree with you on this. Hectic life schedule, lots of barrier and challenges, but it's still that solution oriented mindset. Meenakshi is going on and on and on. Then this Meenakshi, how does she unplug from the work?
And this one is easier said than done. When you're so passionate about the work, it will be there all the time in your head. But I'll say, I think for the productivity, it is very important to unplug. For innovation, it's so important to unplug. It's just so important to switch off yourself. So I do very simple things. I think, sometimes I just go down in the park and I play football with kids. I enjoy chatting with kids. That gives me such a, refreshing booster for the day. I go to gym and I do long gym hours, like 90 minutes, and even more than that sometimes. And I just listen to the good music, and that time I'm definitely not having work in my mind. I do play badminton, and I do read fact based things. I do read books. So those are the things which do help me. And I think once a while it's also important to take breaks. So I'm very punctual about my annual break, which typically I take at the year end. And those 10, 12 days, I'm completely off the work and then obviously ready for the next year with a refreshed energy. That's very, very important. So, yeah, I think we all can do those simple things. So I just do those.
Great. And rightly said, unplugging is really very important. The moment you say that you go down and play with the children, the football thing just brought a smile on my face because no, just reliving that childhood, that energy, it's reinforcing the purpose in mind and re-energizing you, right? It's so
Yeah.
important so that you come back, you bounce back and give your best in your world. For that, you really need to do that. And yeah, I'm taking some notes. I'm really getting inspired. So, if I have to quickly summarize my learnings from your session today, the way your mom said, just be yourself, don't give up. And the key word, don't assume. Don't assume that you have to give your aspirations. Don't assume that the world is very difficult. And life is all about the journey and the experiences. So many beautiful gems and nuggets. And I'll request all my viewers to watch it, make your notes, take the inspirations, and do share your learnings and takeaways with us. With this, a big, big, big heartfelt thank you to you, Meenakshi, for being with us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Preeti. I really enjoyed talking to you. And it's very different, it's not easy to talk about your life experiences. I think we can talk so much about the technical topics when we are put out on the forums. So I think this was really interesting. I enjoyed it and you made it quite wonderful. Thank you.
To my viewers, I would like to say do watch this very interesting episode of the Dil Se Dialogue with the CFO Lenovo India, Miss Meenakshi Dagar. Do write down some pointers, what you found very interesting and you're taking away with you, and share it with us too. And watch out, this is space for the next episode of the Dil Se Dialogue. Till then, celebrate the abundance of everything in your life. Keep dreaming and keep manifesting. Bye bye.